Tell me what the hell are you scared of when in the end the only
Where's the love? Right here on this podcast. Welcome to Love Drops, where your hosts and One Love ambassadors, Charles and Diane, will share love, hope, and inspirational topics taken from their journey and world events. We will also include on location recordings and special pop up guests from cool places all around the world. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
whether big or small, love never fails. Oh, love it conquers all. Love never fails.
Welcome to another edition of Love Drop Podcast. I am, of course, excited for this guest. He pretty much introduced himself to me on LinkedIn. He reached out right before I was taking my year-end pause to reset and said, "Hey, you want to have a chat?" And I says, "Let's do so in the beginning of the year because I'm kind of globe-trotting right now and taking a little pause. So can we circle back?" And he absolutely did that. But in the meantime, that space between, I was able to just see how this guest flowed on LinkedIn. And if I had one word to describe him, it would be kind. He is kind. And not only is he kind, he's my kind of guy. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring my guy, Charles, to the mic. And Charles, would you like to introduce our guest to the listeners?
Yes, and thank you, Diane. Our guest today is James Kellock. James is the founder of the All We Can Foundation, as well as Ripple Core. Our last year, he has built platforms of kindness that is measurable and backed by science. All We Can Foundation was built to track, report, and inspire everyday acts of kindness, while Ripple Core is a socially impacted platform for organizations inspired by kindness. With that said, our guest can tell you more about his kindness journey. James, you now have the mic.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful segue. You guys have rehearsed this far too well. It's like you've had a couple of practices as well. I don't know.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, right. Just a couple, just a couple of practices at it. Thank you for the introduction. That's very kind. Yes. How may I share my journey with you?
Well, I guess you can start by letting our listeners know where you are signing in from.
I am signing in from what is currently a very sunny and fresh UK countryside, just outside Roman city of Bath. Quite a nice touristy area, a lot of history and a lot of culture. But yeah, just outside Bath, and not miles away from London. For those who don't know England so well, that's where I am enjoying life from.
Right on. So we're going to just jump into our conversation and we're focused on kindness. I mean, we're talking about how kindness is used to uplift others. And man, do we need that right now. So just talk to us a little bit from whence you came and how you landed into the pond of just making kindness your platform to operate from.
So there's a short version and a long version. I'm going to try and get the midway version to keep everyone happy, right? So
Okay.
I've been in corporate sales and marketing and management for 17 years, maybe. I was a sports teacher and sports coach before that, but it's been in sales marketing in particular, it's quite a cutthroat, aggressive, competitive market. People are happy to step on others to get where they need to get to. I suppose that's corporate in a lot of responsibilities, a lot of ways anyway. But in sales, when you're hunting, it's the commission, it's the bonuses, it's that, that is the hunters market. It becomes a little bit harder. And telecommunications, was quite a competitive market and is still a competitive market. And I had a redundancy from a company I was working with last, and it was an opportunity and a pause in my church and a reflection of where do I go next? What do I do next? I have 3 dependents and a beautiful partner who rely on me and will need me as the only breadwinner. So there was a pause and reflection of like, what do I do? And our church was talking about what kindness looked like and living Christian values and not being plastic Christians of going, I'm going to be a Christian on a Sunday because that's what church does. And then on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'll let the world take over me. And then I'll come back to Sunday and repent for my sins and apologize and be a Christian again. So like, what can we do to show true Christian values and go, we need to love each other. We need to show love everywhere. We need to kind people, be goodness in the world, and bring those key values out and live them, breathe them, and let people be inspired by them to the point where they're asking you, like, how are you doing that? You go, well, I just have the faith. I have faith in myself. I have faith in Jesus. And that's maybe too far for some. So I'm just going to go, I'm going to bring people on the journey today and asking the questions. So I was thinking of ideas and I was presented with a vision of forms of, in my mind, I'm a very kinesthetic learner, where everything is very visual, which is always fun for a logical person who doesn't do visions. So like, tell me what you mean. I'm like, but my picture says this. She's like, that's okay in fairyland. Now put it on paper for me. I'm like, oh yeah, sorry. So it's always fun at home. But yeah, kinesthetic learning with ADHD is always a challenge for most people. She does very well. But yeah, so I had the vision. I kind of put it down in kind of some form of how could I do this? And I wanted to make a charity that tries to basically start showing the world that there's a lot of goodness in it. And having 3 kids was a real motivation behind it as well, because I've just seen the cesspit of doom scrolling on social media, how it's affecting. And so I'm getting insight and intellectual information from my partner who's being a primary school teacher, from safeguarding in schools and grooming and all this stuff that's coming through. And then that's not even starting on what the news tells us and the news puts out to us to absorb. So I was like, I felt the world was getting a bit of a battering. And so I was thinking of ways I could try and create something, a space, a bubble of something, an air pocket of goodness that can hopefully be added to by more positivity and air put into it by others who want to do the same sort of thing. So thanks to a very intelligent, very skilled and talented cousin of mine, together we started building this platform that looks to, say, as Charles rightly said, looks to track, report, and then inspire kindness, and then bring it to life on a map for people to see and read the stories and stuff. So that's how it evolved. It's the heart of the reason why. And I've just had the best time meeting beautiful people like yourselves who are doing their bit, take that next step, which is, and I say that because it feeds into a book that's called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And there's a passage in it that resonated so well when I was reading it. And it said, there's a boy and a horse that they're standing at the edge of this dark woods. And the boy said, I can't see where I'm going. And the horse said, can you see your next step? And the boy said, yeah, I can. And the horse said, well, just take that one. That sat with me really well, because I thought, what can little old me in a little village in the middle of nowhere with a very elderly community around me, in a very quiet little place, what can I do to impact the world when I've got, stuff to deal with here? I just thought, so it puts you off and you go, why would someone want to listen to me? I have no credentials. I have no qualifications in scientific reasoning into kindness. I haven't got a degree in PhDs. But I can take that next step in trying to help someone else's word spread. I can take the next step in trying to connect someone who can help someone. So I'm just taking that next step.
Yes, you are. And I appreciate you for that. I remember when we first virtually met up, you said that you used your kindness tool, and that is what linked you to me. So I felt honored, but then I also felt aligned because I said, okay, my love frequency, my kindness frequency is on track, because if I'm getting picked up by James, who is the founder of All We Can, and Ripple Core, that's tracking kindness, then I'm on the right track here. So kudos to you for taking that next step.
And also, what I received from what you were saying, in spite of all the negativity that's going on all around us, you're finding that kindness and making those stepping stones, if you will, built on a foundation and a platform of kindness. Look for it and you'll find it. And you're looking through all the negativity and finding the goodness and keeping that forward momentum going for the world.
You're being that kindness.
Kindness is a element of emotions that kind of bring about similar sort of feelings, like, gratitude, love. Well, most of it falls under love, but there's niceness, there's kindness. Best way of saying to be nice is to say, "Oh, it's a lovely jumper, honey." Being kind is to go, but it doesn't go with the trousers, right? That's the difference. We're not always kind. We're sometimes too often nice to people, which is a bit flat. But there is a science behind kindness. There's a science behind gratitude, and if I was to give you kindness, you as the receiver would scientifically, medically feel better. I would, almost selfishly here, but it's not the principle for doing it, I would feel better. But guess what? The bonus is Charles, who I hadn't done the kindness to, he feels better as well because he's witnessed the whole thing. So there's a
Yes.
three-way effect, which is why the platform comes into it. I'm not the person receiving the kindness in these platform additions that people are adding to our map. I'm not receiving, I'm a witness to it though. Every time I go to my platform to see someone else has added another act of kindness, and it could be something as simple as like we've got schools using it and trying to help them work on the school's culture and community feel of promoting kindness. It's kind of like an anti-bullying type platform in that way. I'm seeing kids looking at simple things like I helped another classmate who was lost because he was new to school. I saw someone who was fallen down. I gave them a hand up. Now that is small. That is insignificant to someone in politics, right? It's insignificant. It was huge to that person who was on the floor.
Yeah.
And so it matters. And so I'm sat there going, those kids are recognizing it's the small things that all add up. Like Lego, you can build a tower as tall as the Eiffel Tower, but it all comes from small little bits.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
it's important that this reflects, and that's kind of where that was built for. It's not going to change the world, but it'll change someone's life here and there. And that's all I wanted to do.
Wow. I'm going to jump and piggyback and say that it has the possibilities and opportunities to change the world. And I say that from the perspective of the butterfly effect, how they say a butterfly can flap its wings on one part of the world and the effect is felt all the way around the world, right? So in that illustration you use with the child, that child on the ground was affected, but also other children around that witnessed that was also affected. Case in point, oftentimes Charles and I will go to places and we'll pay it forward on a meal, we'll pay it forward on a cup of coffee. And the only thing that we require is don't point at us. Don't say that like we did it. We prefer to do it anonymously because we want the act of kindness to be the focal point. That's the main thing. Not that we did that. Hey, look at us. No, but the actual act. And I'll tell you something. We have sat back and anonymously watched just the act being transpired and watched the looks on the person's face, watch them kind of look around the room, watch them at many times pay it forward to the person behind them. So it catches on. But the main thing is just a simple act. Sometimes it's a cup of coffee. Sometimes it's a meal. It's not the size of the kindness. It's the act.
And each of those acts just feed into a larger pot of kindness. And it just becomes infectious around the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Charles, you told me about that story when we spoke about the fact that like you were giving someone a like discount or a voucher for $25 off their food shop or something like that. And the person was so taken back, they kind of went, sorry, what's the catch? And then still chased after you afterwards and said, no, seriously, what's the catch? And I took away from that, which was beautiful that that person eventually resonated that, no, someone's just being generous. But secondly, it's a bit of sadness at the same time going, our world is in such a place that if someone does an act of kindness and there's no reward for that person other than the feeling of goodness, it's just too often like, but what's the catch? We are in a society of where's the catch? What's in it for me? And I did start my journey of trying to uncover more about kindness to go, well, where is this going to go? And what is the outcome? I was kind of lost in it. I'd set myself such a wide ambition. I was there going, what can happen? And like after a few conversations with a few people, I was like, every conversation is just so much enjoyment and satisfaction from it. And it was just, yeah, it's just beautiful that I've been really blessed with the amount of people I've spoken to, you two individually and obviously now together as well. It's just for the people out there who only listen to yours, I can just assure you, like you guys, Diane, Charles, you are a epitome of the goodness that is out there. But I'm just pleased that you're having a platform to show that. The people I've spoken to out there, they're not all got the platform, but they're just there punching at it. What you do off this podcast is what I'm seeing a lot of. And it's just because I opened my eyes to it. You guys do this, which is really helpful to promote it. But let's say that what you're doing off this podcast is exactly what the world needs. And there is people doing it. So I'm just really excited that they're there and I'm just trying to find them.
Wow, that is amazing. And Charles was talking about our random acts of kindness that we did like in 2018. And you know what the biggest catch for me was seeing how it sparred off with other people, because other people began to do it as well. So we saw it catch on, and that was so phenomenal. And I can say this, the most profound thing that happened in that is we were driving in Nashville, coming off of an exit ramp, and we saw this homeless guy. And by this time, we started doing socks. We started doing our sock campaign because it was winter. So we were just doing socks of love, where we do like little packs of socks, give a couple of pairs of socks, a card, and $5 in the card, and some lotion, for feet. So it's kind of happy feet is what we called the campaign, happy feet. So we saw this homeless guy, and so we gave him a pat. And what was profound was his message to us. I cannot even recite the message because I don't remember the message. I don't think that was what it was for. I think what it was for was just to get love infused back. And that's what it was. And it was so profound that when we drove away, it's like I had tears in my eyes, just from that interaction. And it made me think about what my mom always said: be intentional with who you meet, because you never know when you're entertaining angels. And honestly, that's how I drove away. Like I felt like we had given a happy foot packet to an angel, because it was just phenomenal.
That sounds beautiful.
And acts of kindness, when they're being done for the right reason, no one has to be around but you. Someone above man is watching us, as we all know. And
absolutely.
Acts of kindness. And one came to mind. I was leaving a bank, if you will, and it had rained prior. In the back of the bank was the parking structure. Well, across this parking structure, the driveway, there were a bunch of snails out there in the drive, and well, they couldn't go as fast as I was moving. So
strange that.
What I did, and the same thing happened several times in the same area. I scooped up the snails on some paper and moved them to a safe haven across the drive. Well, needless to say, several times that I've done that, there were people inside that saw me doing this. And they approached me when I was coming in the building and asked me if I was a monk. Say, are you a monk?
Of course.
Yeah. I said, no, why? And they told me about, well, we've seen you several times pick up these snails. And I said, well, all lives matter. And I'm glad you saw that. And what did you think about it? They say, well, we can help somebody. I say, yes, that's what it is. And I was glad you saw it. And I'm glad you want to help someone. So it was phenomenal.
The knock-on effect, the ripple effect.
Yes.
Yes.
I have two stories I could share with you, if that's okay. That happened to me, and it's the unknowing. So one of my directors, Molly, we worked together at a previous company, and she's a good heart, good soul, and very organized, which helps. And so always find people who interact with you well is always important in business. We went to sort of catch up lunch, and I treated a cookie company's very, very good cookies because she'd never had them before. So anyway, I had this amazing cookies. We're walking down in Bath, and then I saw this. I was literally about to have this massive. I had a really nice meal, about to have a massive bite out of this massive cookie, which I probably didn't need. Let's be honest. I just had a massive meal, but I thought we're treating ourselves. And I saw this homeless chap there, and I thought that's just really selfish. So I removed myself from being selfish. I thought, right, I'll just go and chat to this guy. Molly was like, "What are you doing?" Like, I was literally walking, talking to her, and then I just diverted off and go talk. I think she kept on going for a moment before coming back, going, "What's he doing?" And I just started chatting to the guy. I said, "How is he doing?" Bit about him. Tried to offer him my cookie, going, "Look, I've just had a meal. This is being me greedy. Do you want this?" And he unfortunately couldn't have it. His teeth were rotten through. But I had a good chat to him for 5, 10 minutes, and then I went and took him for. I said, "Is there anything else you need?" He said, "I would love a drink." So we went to go and get him a drink from the shop. So I had a nice chat to him, get a bit of a story about him, understand him a little bit. And it was just really sad. Some of the stuff like the world is doing to people, like he's struggling, he's at the bottom of it. He's moved down here, and I asked him a simple question like, "Why are you sleeping on the street? Like, why would you not sleep in the woods under a tree, which is comfy or something like that, a bit of protection?" He goes, "There's no protection under a tree because people beat us up. Whereas if we sleep in the doorway of a bank, they've always got CCTV, so we can feel like we can sleep a little bit." I was like, "Oh, like that's just so sad and really painful to take in." But I had a really good chat to him. Anyway, I got to know him a little bit, and he was really grateful. And we shook hands, and I went on my way. And I thought that's really sad. I wish I could do more. And what else could happen? But Molly was just like, "Well, that was really strange but powerful." And I was like, I just felt the urge to want to talk to him. She goes, "Did you see how many people stared at you?" I was like, "No." So I was literally just talking to him. She's like, "There were so many people literally looked at you and went, someone's actually taken time." You can see almost the admiration of someone actually
Mm.
taking the time to go eye to eye and recognize a person. And I didn't get that. But there, so my act of kindness was being witnessed, and they all got the bonus of me stopping and going, "There's a person there, and I'm going to treat him as a person and not just
Yes.
look over him or look above him and look
Yes.
down on him." And that reminded me so much of the importance of people do need to step away from their running track and go, "How can I help?" And then the other story is a really one that came back to me, and this will be a really quick one, but I said at the beginning I was a sports coach, PE teacher. Well, I coached one of my schools. I coached this girl, and she's very unique, lovely girl, very funny running style, but really good. And she was a really good student. She was keen. She was always trying really, really hard. Anyway, she saw what I've been doing with this. This is 20 years later, nearly 20 years later. She messaged me out of the blue going, "Oh, hi, hope all's well. Just saw what you've been doing. Really like to have a chat with you." We had a nice chat, catch up and everything. She loves what's going on with All We Can. She wants to bring it into like potentially Sport England, which is a big thing. And she said, "Oh, I just thought I'd let you know you had a massive impact on my life." I was like, "Oh." She said, "Yeah, so when I went to university, we had to stand in front of our course and our class and say who inspired us to do this course and be a sports coach or something like that." She said, "So I did my talk on you." So after like nearly 18 years or whatever, I get that message. And I was like, "Oh," I was like, I didn't really know how to take that, to have that. And it was just, that one meant so much to me but it shows the ripple effect we have on impact on people's lives. So
Absolutely.
those are just those two stories I thought I'd share.
Those
So,
are fantastic. And here's the thing, your kindness movement that you're in right now allowed that story from 18 years ago to come back
mm,
to you. So it kind of, that ripple brought that flow back to you. It inspired her to get back in touch with
mm,
you after, these 18 years to let you know. And I look at those as God winks because sometimes when you're doing kindness, when you're spreading love, we're human and you
mm,
can, kind of get caught up in your own feelings or emotions like, it does it even matter? Why bother? Am I on the right path? Those questions come, even though we know it's right. And God winks like that student come up to let you know that yes, it does matter. Keep
mm.
going. Take the next step. I love that story, by the
Yeah,
way.
kindness is just phenomenal because I can recall years ago, I extended additional kindness with some of my Tai Chi students, and we're still in touch today. My oldest student, by the way, is 102.
Yeah.
Mine's
Yes.
not. Mine's not. Just just so we're all on the same page, mine's definitely not
Yes, yes.
102.
Right?
My oldest
Kindness.
teacher might be, but not my oldest student.
Yeah, kindness is a connection.
Yeah.
Yes. So we are going to wrap it around, and I don't want to end this conversation without throwing in a plug for the splash makers that you are doing. I think that is phenomenal, the way you're shining a spotlight on other people. So tell our listeners more about that.
So Splash Makers, the initiative we're running through from All We Can, which is a little spotlight that we're putting on the conversations I'm having. So, the conversation with you two, we will basically put you on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn just to kind of go a little snippets. But I'm also creating a directory of goodness and people who are doing goodness so that we can start making it easier for the kind people, the loving people of this world to be seen and found. Because I just feel like back in the day we had the yellow pages and that, like, when you want to find directory of people, like I want to make a directory of goodness and kindness people in this world. So people know where to find the people who really want to put the right in the world. And there's no other moral compass other than I want to do good. And it's not in it for the paycheck. I'm not in it for that. I just want to show love and kindness and gratitude. And this is what this is about. So I'm building this directory up and I'm going to keep publishing it every now and again with updates. But Splash Makers is I just want to show people little snippets of the wonderful people in this world that I have had the fortunate position of spending time talking to and hearing their stories. That's what the
Wow.
Splash Makers is about.
That's
That
amazing.
is
That is
amazing.
amazing.
So All We Can is a foundation. It's nothing, it's free. Anyone can add an account on it. So it takes about 20 seconds, if that, even to just create an account. As I say, it's free. And you can track your acts of kindness. You can see it on the map and see the little marker where you are. And then other people can go to the map and see what the kindness acts are happening around the world. So that's free. But my organizations and everything I'm building is going to have a kindness core to it. So Ripple Core is a compliance and social impact platform, but there's a kindness thread. So it'll do peer-to-peer recognition and it'll do kindness through the community of the business. All these things that I'm going to be doing is a very kindness at its core. But unfortunately, I had to do a corporation because charities don't make money and I have bills to pay. So
Right.
yeah, so I had to do that. So, but it doesn't mean I had to lose the kindness. But one thing I'll probably finish on my saying, it's probably something that's driven me, is that if we stay still in the face of a problem, our silence becomes the echo of that problem.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was goosebumps. That
Mhm.
was goosebumps.
Mhm.
Wow. Thank you so much, James, for taking the time to be with us today. Your time is non-refundable and we appreciate it. Priceless. Your acts of kindness, just keep going. One step at a time. One step at a time. And just know that as you illuminate your light there in Bath, near Bath, UK, that here in the US, it's shining as well. And it's inspiring us to illuminate our light on this end. Then you have someone in another part of the world, and they're illuminating their light on that end. And before you know it, we're going to once again light up the world with kindness. And that is how we use kindness to uplift others. So thank you so very much. We're going to put your information in the narrative, all the links, so that people can check you out and sign up and just spread that kindness. We're inviting our listeners to contact James and just support what he's doing. You can do that by just doing a random act of kindness right after you hear this, and then keep it going. And Charles?
Yes. And James, if you would give us one love drop for our listening audience.
I don't think there's enough love in the world. So I think the challenge is how many people can you show love to today? Like a lovely person I spoke to said, can you end the day by saying to yourself, have I made the world a better place in what I've done today? And then if you can say yes, you can end your day. And I think that's the
Yeah,
focus, is just make sure at the end of every day, have I made the world a better place? That should
nice.
be the
Love that.
focus.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful. So we thank you. We thank our listeners for hanging in. If any of this resonated, please reach out to us, reach out to James. If you haven't, we invite you to subscribe and share the love with others. And until next time, Charles and I sign off with one love.
Never a second will I waste, never an opportunity to taste the sweetness of this life.
Thank you for tuning in to the Love Drops podcast. Be sure to follow this podcast and share the love with everyone you know. Until next time, this is Charles and Diane signing off. One love.
Love it conquers all, whether big or small. Love never fails. Oh, love it conquers all. Love never